Extremely concerned. I mean, there's photo and video evidence that police have deliberately targeted journalists with at least pepper spray. They flash strobe lights at cameramen to blind them. They physically obstruct journalists trying to cover arrests and other police action. And also, journalists have been caught up in like the water cannon, which is not just water, it's blue dye and it also has a stinging agent which irritates the skin. And plus verbal abuse and threats. So, I mean, in a violent situation like that, journalists get caught up. But we have protested, the Foreign Correspondents Club has protested, the Hong Kong Journalists Association has protested at deliberate police violence targeting journalists. I think one problem is it's an extremely heated situation. There's a lot of distrust generally between the journalists, the police and the protesters. I think the police are also suspicious of journalists because there are no official press accreditations in Hong Kong. So I think some of the time they think they might be protesters disguised as journalists, and I think also they just don't want journalists sticking their noses in when they're arresting people. The way they arrest people can be pretty brutal, and they don't want cameras poked in. And I think they feel that they should be given more space. I mean, the journalists, as you have seen in Hong Kong, get up close, very much so, and they try and intimidate them to get them to step back. In these violent demonstrations, you don't want to, nobody's really in the market for having conversations about rules of engagement, but I mean, there's been a real breakdown in relations, particularly I would say between the local journalists and the police. I mean, the local journalists now turn up at police press conferences with their helmets on as a sign of protest. So there's been a real collapse in trust.